Thank you for listening to Comics for Fun and Profit. This is Kyle, Drew, and Eric with Comics for Fun and Profit, episode number 444, where we'll be going over comics releasing March 7th, 2018. Before we get into the slate of what's coming out in your local comic book shops this coming Wednesday, Drew, we've got a whole lot of stuff coming out. We missed last week, and we got some catching up to do.
Yep, I was out of town last week. Kyle was out of town this week. We didn't think he was coming back in time, so we got a ringer to come in and save the show. Eric from Cowabunga's here. Say hi, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
But then Kyle was able to make it, so triple your pleasure for this. So we're real excited. Wanted to, right off the bat, take up a little housekeeping. You've probably saw in the feed, I am no longer the co-host of the weekly comic spotlight over at Comic Book Page. I have done that for 5 years and 250 episodes, and I am not doing it anymore. So it was a fun run. It was nice. It was cool to review comics each and every week over at that podcast, and I will continue to listen to it. I just am not going to be on it anymore. So I know there was a little bit of confusion that there's nothing happening to the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. So we're still going strong, and I appreciated all the wonderful, kind words that everybody has said about my tenure over at the Weekly Comic Spotlight, and I appreciate that very much. And thank you. So that being said, there's one more going to be in the feed that'll follow this episode. So my final episode for the Weekly Comic Spotlight will be like around Wednesday or so of next week. For those of you who enjoyed listening to that, that'll be the last one. For those of you who complained and hated it because you already listened to on the other feed, I get it, and you won't have to listen to that anymore. So there you go. Now, here's the exciting thing. Okay, so we had a lot of fun with our Cowabunga Comics for Fun and Profit Spec bundle last month. It was 4 really cool indie books, deeply discounted by Eric and our friends at Cowabunga, and we had a lot of fun with it. This time, we're amping it up to 11. The Comics for Fun and Profit Spec bundle this month is Amazing Spider-Man number 800 with it's the cover A, of course, the $10 cover A, and the Del Auto 1 in 25. That's beautiful.
It's amazing looking.
It's
cover.
A beautiful cover. A 1 in 25, and you can get both of those together for $69.99 or $70. We'll call it $70. But I mean, it's an amazing deal. If you like, let's say you bought 25 of those $10 A's in order to buy the 1 in 25, that would cost you what, $250 plus the 10 more. So that'd be $260 to get it at full retail. I've seen online retailers pre-selling it for like $150, $140, $130. Crazy a lot of money it's going for. You can get it for $70 through our folks at Cowabunga. And that's not all. If you really want this 800, there is a 1 in 500 and a 1 in 1000. The 1 in 500 is a remastered, and it is $700. And the 1 in 1000 is a black and white version of that remastered, and it's $1,200. I have not seen those covers. And of course, if you get the $700 one or the $1,200 one, you also get a cover A. So really cool, deep discounts on these very hard to get variants if you are so inclined. And all you got to do is reach out to our friends at Cowabunga. Orders at cowabungacomics.com. Is that the way to get you, or is there a better way, Eric?
Yeah, orders at Cowabunga Comics is great. You can hit us up on our Facebook page. Find me on the Comic Book Page Slack channel, whatever you want to do. Send a carrier pigeon if they know how to get to us. Whatever way works, we'll do it. And yeah, can I throw a little bit more on and as far as the ASM 800? All right.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about this, because you sent us a picture of the cover, just the virgin shot of the cover, and I was like, holy smokes, that's just the 1 in 25. I don't even know what the other two look like.
Yeah, we don't know what those remastered ones look like yet either, but I'm going to toss even a little bit more unknown. So there's been some discussion between retailers and Marvel saying, hey, this is a big book. Some of us are thinking about going all the way for the 1 in 1,000. It sure would be great if you could offer us the Delato version in the Delato variant in a virgin cover, as well as the branded cover, which is the 1 in 25. And also there was a call for an Alex Ross and potentially an Alex Ross virgin as well. So what we're going to do is, as those covers are released, we will continue to update you guys, Drew and Kyle, and we will continue to give listeners of this podcast an exclusive price that's going to be far lower than what you're going to find anywhere else online. And we're happy to do that. And we're going to take what we have at 11 and crank it up to 12. And I'm going to say, when you guys get a chance to dig through previews here the next week or so, if you want to put together another spec bundle of new back half number ones, we'll throw that in as well as another Cowabunga spec pick bundle. We're happy to do that.
That's amazing. This is really cool though, because it's not even been put onto the DCBS site, our previous retailer that we did business with, and I know they're not going to be anywhere close to this because they don't really pass the savings on to customers when it comes to variants. So I'm curious to what their number is. I'm guessing 150, maybe. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, and I'm seeing completed sales on eBay for 130, 110. 125 all day, man.
Already happening.
Yeah.
So if you email Eric and say you'll pay $70, you'll get the cover A as a reader copy for yourself, and you can automatically flip the 1 in 25 for double your money. That's crazy. Why are you doing this, Eric? Why don't you just sell them all?
Sure. So. So we are going all in. We're going to get at least one of the 1 in 1,000s. And along with that, there are some additional incentives that Marvel is giving us to kind of reduce the price point a little bit. When we deal in variants like this, it's not our goal to try and max out every penny, because we will end up with a lot of stock left over in the back room. So what we want to do is kind of do everyone a solid. We know we have 1 or 2 people that are interested in the super big books, so we're happy to kind of work with them, and then everyone else benefits along the way. So that's why we're doing it. We are selling them for $85 in the shop pre-sale. So anyone who's listening to this is automatically saving $15 plus getting that cover A. So you're essentially saving $25 if you're buying it at cover price. So we're still passing the savings on in the shop, but because you guys have done a lot to help promote our mail order business, you've done quite a bit of just goodwill promotion for us in general, we want to extend to you and to all the listeners these exclusive savings. And I don't think this is the last time we're going to do it. I think as we go forward, if there's more of these types of variants out there, especially if it's something like a Delato that we know is going to have a lot of heat and excitement behind it, we'll try and do the same thing and put something out there that's pretty aggressive in the marketplace and pass those savings on.
Yeah, and awesome. That Del Auto image will be the image for the episode. It's at least on Facebook and Twitter, because it's a really nice one. It's really striking and well worth the money. It'll be tough to when you buy it. It's going to be tough to part with it, but for double your money, I could probably part with it.
I just want to have it. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it's very nice. And this is the last Dan slot, right? This will probably, or will he do 801?
I believe he's slated for 801.
This is the penultimate Dan slot. He's doing some crazy stuff with Red Goblin. It's specking crazy anyway. I think this whole run of Spider-Man is spec heaven, so you want to get all of these. Maybe he's saving the first full appearance of Red Goblin, because I don't think we've seen him completely yet, right?
Not yet.
Yeah.
So maybe it's coming, and maybe he's gonna drib and drab it out to 800. I don't know. It's gonna be exciting, and so this is a really cool opportunity to get some of these rare variants, and we're glad we can help it. So yeah, 1 in 25 plus the cover A for $70, or if you are of means, 1 in 500 for $700, or 1 in 1,000 for $1,200. Woo, that's cool. That's big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to get a little. We have a little reader or listener feedback. Rock sent us this. He said, "Hey Drew, once again I had to write you. Really dig the last couple of shows. More information than ever. Also love the back of the catalog picks. That is very good. I don't always follow your choices, but it's informative. and I stick to Kyle's rule. Cover A.
Cover A, baby.
Yeah. I like the fact that you also give some nice advice for good or nice cover Bs. Is there a place where you get your information for cover Bs on the net, or is it only in a previews catalog? Your show is like old wine. It gets better and better with time. Thank you. Thanks to you and Kyle." Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
Very cool.
Thank you, Rock, for that. Most of the time we see cover Bs, we're on previews, the preview site, and so when we're looking in the catalog that we get 3 months in advance, is it 3 months, 2 months, 2 months in advance of when the stuff comes out? There's rarely the cover B image, right, Eric?
Correct.
True? Yeah. So we don't really get to see those cover Bs until closer to their release date. So during the pre-order cycle, you don't really have all the information on cover Bs. Sometimes you have the artist, and if it says it's a Del Auto or it's a Fiona Staples or it's a Art Germ or something, you might know that during the pre-order cycle. But a lot of times we don't get to see them until we go to the preview site and can look a couple of weeks ahead, and sometimes those images are there. And sometimes they're still not.
Sometimes they pop up in FOC, and we can get them a little bit. That's when they kind of hit the general public sometimes.
Do we see the images at that point?
We have before, I believe.
I think Eric, as a retailer, probably sees a lot more of this information further in advance than we do. Mm-hmm. For instance, the Del Auto cover. That we would not normally know what that looks like this far in advance. So that's really cool. But yeah, the best source of information is, of course, your previews catalog for who's doing what, and then the preview site itself, the new releases, the stuff that we do the sneak peek off of, shows you cover Bs and sometimes images. Most of the time it's images, but sometimes it's still not there a week and a half out. So,
and a lot of the way I do is if it's a specific artist, like I do a lot of Art Germ and stuff. So if you're following him on Twitter, normally as soon as Marvel gives the go-ahead for a completed cover, he'll show it on like his own social media before it goes through the channels necessarily. Like on the Supergirl stuff, the first time those really hit was his independent Twitter after he finished the art and it got a final approval. He showed the cover and said, "Congratulations, this will be the cover B." So if you know the artist, usually through social media, sometimes they're allowed to break their own covers.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's cool stuff. So that's at previewsworld.com/catalog for the book, which is way in advance and before the pre-order cycle, and previewsworld.com/new releases, which is where we pull the spec picks each week from. So hopefully that helps you. Eric, is there additional information out there that we're missing?
The only other place that you might be able to find this stuff would be on the particular publisher's websites. So retailers have a slight leg up in the sense that when we look through the FOC every week for the books that are coming out in 2 to 4 weeks, we see the covers in most cases. Diamond has a rule that you should have the cover in by FOC, but sometimes that gets missed. So that's how we're able to see it. But going on to publisher websites, you can sometimes get to see things quicker. I know Image is usually pretty good at having their B covers up on their website at the same time they send them to Diamond. DC is getting pretty good at it, Marvel as well. So if you don't have previews, if Previews World isn't showing it, always check with the individual publishers' websites.
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty cool.
Or ask your LCS, because they can access the FOC and see things. Or if you want to see a cover and you're on the comic book page Slack channel, just ping me and say, "Hey, do you have the cover for this book?" And I'll look for you and let you know.
Also, another option. There you go. Aaron Churchill sent this in. Thanks for going through previews. Because of you, I'm picking up Deathstroke, Thanos Annual #1, and completely missed the Black Hammer thing coming back. Black Hammer coming back. So a great save there. A question on specking. What do you think is worth specking over? Double cover? Triple cover? I noticed the Swamp Thing special was getting double for a minute there, but it maybe still is. But that became $16. Seemed worth the effort. But is $2.99 going to $6 or $4 going to $8? Is that worth your time and effort? Just curious where you are making the effort and willing to make the trip to the post office, etc. Side questions: do you use stamps.com or anything since you're doing a little side business? Okay. First up, specking. If you like to just do it, if you like to buy low and sell high, then sure, double is worth the effort. If you actually, don't want to break even, then yeah, I think triple cover is probably the floor most of the time. Even if it's a $2.99 book that you've pre-ordered, you're getting a nice discount through your LCS, or you should switch to Cowabunga, and therefore you're really when you're tripling cover, you are actually making a decent amount, even with shipping, whether you're giving it away or charging it to the customer. So I say triple cover is kind of the floor for me. What do you guys think? You don't spec, Eric. I'm not asking you. I'm asking Kyle.
For the most part, it's each individual. Like, there's things that I buy kind of personally, and if I have a little bit of a hint of maybe a long term, then I'll wait. And if I got to be able to make $10 on it sometimes is the justification in my mind. But there are things that just, if it's got a little heat, sell it, because I can always reinvest. I'm always a big fan of reinvesting. If you can make a little bit here, put it into the next thought, and maybe eventually you'll hit the big time after that. But it just depends. If you see markets cooling off more than you do see heating up. I've been lately, so like if I can make $5, that's usually worth my time. Keep the eBay reputation up. Keep a good slog of things moving out. So normally if I can make $5 triple cover, I'm in.
Now, on a little larger scale, Eric and James have kind of gone into this stuff in detail on buying comics over on their Cowcast, which I highly recommend, especially if you like any kind of inside baseball stuff about running a shop and buying comics and selling comics. But you guys kind of there's a whole litany of answers that you kind of have probably. It just depends, but like I know you and James have talked about, if it's like a Hulk 181, you'll pay, guide for that thing because you've got people out there that are willing to pay for it. So you'll do it for maybe 20% over what that is because it's at such a large dollar amount, right?
Right, yeah. So it's one of those things where you have to take into account when you're paying the money what your profit's going to be on it. So if you're buying a $1,500 book for $1,100, $1,200, $300 that's a good profit margin. It's profit margin percentage wise, it's not, but $300 is a good profit. So it's worth it in that case to pay up. Now, if you're talking about buying a $2.99 DC book to flip for $6, well, you're not really making a lot. So is it worth the energy? That's up to you. Some people, it's worth it. And if they do it in volume, if they buy 15 of an Art Germ cover and they sell all 15 for double cover and undercut the next lowest guy, then maybe it's worth it if they've got nothing but time to kill. So,
right.
It's really all relative to what you want to do and what you have the funds for. Some people can't afford to play, with the bigger books. We certainly, when we started with the shop, we could afford to do some of it, but we couldn't go all in all the time. We're fortunate enough that we're at a point now where pretty much anything walks in, obviously aside from an Action 1 and a Detective 27, things like that, we're confident and comfortable that we can go ahead and make a fair offer, a fair price to purchase that comic, and we have, the streams to be able to sell it.
You and James would go right to the bank for that when that walked through the door.
Oh, if an Action 1 or Detective 27 came in, you betcha. Yeah, our banker is on call 24/7 for those books.
Yeah, that would be sweet. That's the fun stuff. If you know you can play in that water. I don't really have the capital laying around to do that, but you can. You can, if you know someone who has a highly collectible piece like that. That's a lot of fun because those keys are quickly flippable and for good money. So yeah, you don't have to try to double your money there. But yeah, when it's the general specking that we're talking about through going on Wednesday to the shop and seeing what's on the shelf, or supplementing your pre-orders or throwing stuff in your pull boxes. Yeah, I think if you're not buying it to read it and you just want to sell it, I think mileage varies, and I kind of have a floor, but other people's floor might be lower or higher even.
And you can always set yourself a goal. If your goal is to, in the near future, spec around in the ASM 300, then set yourself a goal of making that initial $250 investment. And if that takes, 3 months of selling $5 and $10 comics just to make a little bit to get into the next level of what you really want to spec at, then I think it's worth it. And you've got to kind of look at it as these books are anything I can do to climb the ladder to get to that next invest point to kind of get to where you want to be. I think that's an easy way to play it.
ASM 300 was $250 when I sold it, but it's no longer that.
You can find a guy like Drew. Maybe you can get it for cheap.
It never ends. It never ends around here. That's awesome. The Stamps.com question: yes, Stamps.com is fine, but if you sell via eBay, you have a built-in interface for your postage, and they actually even give you a discount off of the post office rates. That's actually helpful. That kind of helps you, especially if you're offering free shipping or something as an enticement. You're not paying the same price everybody else pays at the post office.
I think you get a really good cut on first class, isn't it? Isn't that the one?
Yeah, first class is decent. And some of it just varies. There's a percentage, and it's kind of, I don't know how it's computed at all, but you get a discount if you use the eBay interface.
It's actually the Stamps.com discount. It's the same thing. eBay has
it might be the same. Yep.
They have an agreement with Stamps. We have both a Stamps and a FedEx account, and the eBay pricing is the same as the Stamps.com for postage, for mail postage.
So there you go. So yeah, that's kind of the way to do it. So you don't have to stand in line at the post office. It's really easy to do it at home, and then just drop them off on your way to work or something. Especially if you're doing a lot, it saves tons of time.
Investment number one: a small digital scale, and you're off and running.
Yeah, or just kind of eyeball it.
Or you could eyeball it.
So I hope that helps. Thank you, Aaron, for the question. That's really cool. Since we were not in last week, although Kyle was supposed to do a cast without me,
I never promised anything.
That's not what I heard. Anyway, we'd missed a few things. So there was a few things that came out. Maybe your local comic shop still has them on the shelf. One of the things that kind of got hot was Spawn 283. It's kind of weird. It was like, it was a McFarlane cover, and then it was a Mattina cover. I don't really know the whole story. I know I grabbed a couple off the rack. They're selling for anywhere between 10 and 15 pretty regularly now, and it just came out. So there's cover A and cover B. They're being sold well as sets as well. Do you know anything about that one, Eric?
Yeah, so it was originally solicited to be a cover A by Alexander and a cover B by McFarlane and Kodransky, and I guess neither of the covers were able to get done in time, so Mattina jumped in and did a cover, and that's why everything went crazy, because even when you look at like the invoice and some of the stuff through the Diamond system, it doesn't even acknowledge Mattina as the actual artist for that cover. If you go to the actual image website, there it says that Mattina did the cover. So it was a complete sneak attack, so to speak, and that's why that one blew up.
Yeah. So they may have been on your shelf this week, may still be there, so you might still be able to get those, but they're hot online. So grab them if you can get them. And Kyle should have pointed that out, but he dropped them.
Never would have known.
As we pointed out.
That one was irrelevant.
Yeah. That would have been a miss no matter what. Avengers 682 had a sneaky 1 in 10 variant that the cover has Hawkeye on this horse. One of them is old Hawkeye, and one of them is new Hawkeye. The ones that are... Is it the new Hawkeye that's the 1 in 10?
No, the old Hawkeye.
The old Hawkeye is the one that you were going to try to get. So
the one with the face and not the mask and the headpiece.
Yes. So that's the new Hawkeye. Right?
New, old. Yeah, the one that has the face is the one that you want.
The one that has the face is the one that you want. Okay.
Yeah.
There were none in the LCS I went to. Eric has one in his shop, right? Did you sell that?
Yeah, it's sold.
It's sold. Those were not as prevalent, at least in my sample size of 2 stores. So there you go.
Yeah, they were anywhere between a 1 in 7 and a 1 in 10. It was kind of dependent on how much you ordered. Some shops were marking them triple price. Some were leaving it. Some were doubling. It was all kind of all over the place. They're selling online for anywhere between $8 and $12 a pop.
Yeah. Yeah, so that would have been a lucky find because I don't think a lot of stores even knew.
No, a lot of stores didn't. And in fact, we may have gotten more than one, but we didn't know until after we pulled all our subs and we didn't bother going back and changing. So some of our subscribers may have gotten it. We don't know.
We also had a cover B for Mara, Queen of Atlantis, #1. That was an Art Germ cover. And a lot of Art Germ people out there, so that would have been a good one to pick up this week. Probably you can still find that one. And then Thanos 16, I believe, was this week.
Yep.
And there was supposed to be a first appearance of somebody in there and another Cosmic Ghost Rider appearance, and he's hot as heck.
Wasn't it an Origin in that one?
Yeah, maybe it was an Origin in there.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be the Origin.
Also a hot book that we missed out on.
And then we also had the second print of Thanos 15 that hit and was about double cover. It did all right because that neat little skull cover.
Yes. There was no ASMs this week, right?
Correct.
So, but if there are, keep picking those up.
Peter Parker Spider-Man, wasn't there? Or was it the other?
Was that 300?
Yeah, the 300, and that did okay.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the variant covers went pretty good.
Yeah. Anything else that came out this week that we may have missed, Eric?
No, I think those are all the ones that people were going nuts for at our shop.
And in Avengers Infinity War, the #2 one came out last week. That one quickly jumped to $20, as well as the first Avengers Infinity War prelude also spiked. So both of those, for some odd reason, are way up there.
Is it because they changed like the stones and what they represent, and that would be their first appearance of those stones, or was there something else in there that I read it and I don't remember it being that special? But I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that one.
No clue.
What I read is Prelude #1 actually fills in some of the holes leading up with the bonus White Wolf end credit scene for Black Panthers.
Oh, okay. All right. DC has announced that they are creating a Sandman universe within Vertigo. And the line of books is going to be curated by Neil Gaiman. It's going to kick off with the Sandman universe #1, which will be plotted by Neil Gaiman, and a bevy of writers will take over. And then the 4 books within this curated Sandman universe line will be The Dreaming, written by Cy Spurrier, House of Whispers by Nalo Hopkinson, Lucifer by Dan Waters, and Books of Magic by Kat Howard. So, they're going back to the well again. We had, what was that? They had that Sandman that took forever. That when they revisited it. Can't remember what it was called now. It's been so long. But I guess they're going to go back to the well again. Do you think there's any juice left in Sandman that people are going to be excited about? Or has it been just too long?
I think from our standpoint, it's going to be one of those things where we're going to rely heavily on hearing interest and buzz through the store before we kind of go all in on orders for it. I think that Sandman is a property that a lot of people came to back when it was first coming out that weren't comic readers and haven't been into comic shops much since.
Yeah.
So depending on how the properties take off, it could be one of those things where it rekindles some of those vibes and those feelings. The other thing that we're starting to see is in our shop, kind of completely unrelated, but there's going to be a tie into this. In our shop, we've seen a huge resurgence of D&D. A lot of kids coming in, some older folks, but mostly high schoolers and college-age kids coming in, wanting to learn how to play D&D and getting into it. And a lot of it is due to Stranger Things. Now, if Stranger Things mentions stuff about Sandman that comes up somehow in the discussion around Stranger Things, that would be about the best way that this whole line of books could be marketed and pushed, because it would be kind of that nostalgia trigger, and it would really get people coming back in. So if something like that happens, that would be a huge plus.
Huh. That's interesting. I did not realize that D&D was making a resurgence. That's kind of cool. I think I have my character sheets around here somewhere. Maybe I could play some.
Every Thursday night at 6:30.
Fantastic. The Image has announced the first 4 artist appreciation variants that will be released. These are going to be Virgin variants, so they will have no series logo, Image logo, issue number, or price on the cover. They are going to be Gideon Falls by Jeff Lemire, the first issue of that by Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. That's going to be on March 7th, so that's this week. Did I get my order in time, Eric, for that one?
We'll see what we get.
Okay. Infidel by Pornsak Pichetshote, my favorite writer, and Aaron Campbell. That's going to be the 14th, Infidel number 1. The Moonshine number 8 by Brian Azzarello and Edward Rizzo. That's going to be March 21st. And then Saga 50 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. It's their 50th issue, and it's also going to be available as a Virgin. So I'm excited about this one. That's coming out on March 28th. And that final order cutoff is right around the corner. So
Monday.
You need to talk to your LCS right away if you want these.
The cutoff is only for Saga Monday. The others are staggered week after week after.
Really? Well, but are those? Did I announce when they're being released, or did I announce when is that date? March 7th, is that the date that Gideon Falls number 1 comes out? It is, isn't it?
Right, it is.
So I just got the email. So when was the FOC cutoff?
These actually, so like the Gideon Falls, that was actually in previews. I think all of these have been in previews, so it's not like they're FOC only.
The Virgin variant?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Man, maybe I have dementia, because I don't remember that at all. Well, I'm still excited about them.
And you should be.
So check with your LCS, see if they can get those for you. If not, you need a new LCS.
Yeah, everything else is already cut off, and then Saga is Monday, March 5th is the cutoff.
And I can tell you, Drew, you do not have an order for the Saga Virgin.
I do not. And it was in previews?
Would you like said?
Yes. I sent you an email. I would like 3.
Kyle, how many would you like?
2, please.
And just like that, the order's in.
Too easy.
That was easy. See, it pays to shop with Cowabunga. Now, speaking of FOC, I believe you have the FOC, Eric. Is that true?
I sure do.
Anything in there that's exciting? And is this a Monday FOC?
Yeah, all FOCs do Monday end of day, so this is the one that will be due this Monday. There are a couple of things in this one. It wasn't as exciting as some of the other ones have been. Just going to scroll down here. So we have the Saga Virgin, which we've already covered. In the kind of going alphabetically, starting at Dark Horse, there's nothing. DC Comics, there's, let's see, what do we have? There's all sorts of them.
The Batgirl 21 cover B. Who is the artist?
Joshua Middleton.
He's pretty good.
He's not bad.
Has anybody else been kind of getting into those covers, because they've been pretty neat looking?
Yeah, unfortunately, this one we don't have a preview image for yet. Well, I'll bite my tongue. Maybe I'll find it in our Facebook group.
Can you go ahead and put one on for me of the cover B? Because I don't think I ordered that.
Yep, I can do that. Yeah, the last one was at 20. Was really good. It was a really striking cover.
It's the same guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We've got just Detective Doomsday Clock is the third printing for issue 1. I don't know if they're doing anything special with that cover.
I will check, but I do have the Batgirl, I think, in the Facebook feed. Give me half a second to find it. Maybe not. Yeah, the Batgirl one's not on there. It says it's on there, but it's not. So, blah, blah, blah. Sorry.
You did show us the Wonder Woman, though. That was pretty snazzy.
Yes, the Wonder Woman one is it has 3 of the. Well, it's got Diana and then 2 other of the Warriors on there, so it's a 3 female cover. So that one has potential to kind of catch a little bit of heat. When Jenny does more than one, it tends to get people a little excited. Doomsday Clock, you'd asked about the third printing. It's the same cover of the Rorschach face with the Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman logo.
Okay.
And it's all in full color on here, so I assume it will be full color printed.
It looks like more and more publishers, smaller publishers, are jumping on the FOC bandwagon. That's good, right?
Yes, it is good. Oh, one thing I will call out that's on FOC. So Mira number 1, we talked about the Artgerm variant. Mira number 1's going to have an inflated order number just because of that Artgerm variant. Unlike Supergirl, he's not doing any variants moving further on. So if you're someone who likes to play a little bit more, maybe you want to look at grabbing it's only a cover A. It's a Nicola Scott cover for Mira, Queen of Atlantis number 2, but that will probably be definitely a low ordered. Not necessarily going to say an under ordered, because you can never know that until demand hits, but it's definitely going to be a much lower ordered book than the Artgerm variant cover.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think that's probably it for DC. IDW, things that are coming out on FOC. So you've got a couple number 1s, Bubba Hotep and Cosmic Bloodsuckers, Chromamento Mori. Those are both number 1s that are on FOC this week. So if you were at all interested in those, as well as Goosebumps Download and Die, that one is out there. And that is written by Jen Vaughn. So I don't know who that is, but
I don't know that.
That's who's writing it. Other than that, not a whole lot in IDW. A lot of ongoing stuff, TMNT, ongoing, Transformers, My Little Pony, Kid Lobotomy, things like that. Now, another one that it didn't really blast off the charts, but was last week something that people were asking a little bit about is Beef number 1. Beef number 2 is on FOC this week. So if that was something you were interested in, that will probably be a lower ordered book as well from Image Comics. And then I believe we have this Awakenings 2 Part 6 from Black Magic, which is Rucka and Nicola Scott. I think this is the end of the current arc, so that is on FOC with a Leandro Fernandez kind of black and white variant cover.
Now, Hit Girl 2 probably on FOC, because Hit Girl 1 apparently flew back to a second print real quick. They said that first one blew out of everywhere.
Yeah, I think part of that was because there was some. It was lightly ordered,
okay.
not as heavily as other books, because many retailers have caught wise to the Mark Millar plan. Get 3 issues, sell the rights, and don't finish it. Gotcha. So I think there was a lot of hesitancy on that front. So, yeah, trying to think what else.
What about the Spawn 284 cover C Virgin wraparound? Do you think there's anything to be had there?
Well, it's supposed to be a Todd McFarlane cover, so The A and the B are both by Alexander. The A is already there. The artwork is already out. The B is supposed to be a black and white of it, and then the C Virgin is supposed to be a McFarlane, which we don't have a cover for. So that's anyone's game.
I kind of think I pre-ordered that, but I can't remember 100%.
I can tell you did not.
Son of a...
Would you like your standard 3?
No, I'll just take one of those.
Okay, Kyle?
Just to see
I'm good.
it.
No worries here.
Let's see. And then we get into Marvel. We've got ASM 794 third printing variant, which appears to have a different cover on it.
And this is, what is the significance now? This is...
794, I believe, was that the start of the... I think this was the start of Slott's last arc, and that's where things started blowing up with the ASM books. So
that's a cool cover.
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice. Third printing now.
I think the only other things of note per se in Marvel Comics overall are that this current FOC month are the Mighty Thor variants, and they are all a percentage-based increase. However, there are a couple that are worth potentially looking at. So let's see here. Which one was this? Oh, there's a couple other ones too. So like the Invincible Iron Man is a Keown variant cover. We don't get to see that. Old Man Hawkeye is an Olivier Coipel cover. We do see that one. It's very Olivier Coipel-esque, which is not a bad thing. And then we also have the where'd it go? Black Panther 171 is a Nick Bradshaw cover. Very contrasty, lights, darks. So we've got those. The big stuff, though, I guess that I should call out are Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider #1. That's a Christopher Sabella title with Clayton Crane cover, which is actually, since we can curse, I guess, on this one, is a badass cover. I don't know if have you guys seen that cover at all?
I don't think so. No.
All right, check Skype.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that cover somewhere. That is pretty rad.
Yeah, that's a cool cover. I have a feeling that one's going to jump off the shelves pretty quick. And then the other one is Daredevil 600. So there are a number of variants for this one. Obviously, it's an anniversary issue. You have a David Aja 25, 1 in 25 variant, which
Alex
is...
Ross.
Yep. The Aja one's pretty cool. You've got an Alex Ross, and then you've got some bigger ones as well. You've got Frank Miller Remastered, which is a 1 in 500, and then the Frank Miller Black and White Remastered, which is 1 in 1,000.
Wow.
So, yeah, those we haven't necessarily yet decided to go all in on, but anyone who wants to persuade us, let us know, and we are more than happy to do some calculating on our abacus.
There you go. Man, I like Aja's covers. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Is that a standard or is that
25.
a 1 in
That's
something?
25.
That's the 1 in 25. Yep.
And again, for folks, Eric doesn't come on that often, so we don't really need to talk about what FOC is. These, you can't really find this FOC list out there in the world unless you're a retailer, correct?
Yeah, it's kind of tricky. No one really seems to publish it. The publishers don't put it out there. Diamond doesn't really put it out there. So it's something that the retailers use to settle in on our final order for anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks out, depending. Or in the case of The Secret Invasion by Bendis Omnibus hardcover, that will be coming out July 25th, but because it's so much larger, it takes a bigger lead time for printing. But yeah, this is a retailer-based thing. It's something that if you are a person who goes after variants, who's looking for potential spec stuff, it's always worth finding a retailer where you can ask about it and just see what's coming up for FOC, things like that.
And FOC stands for Final Order Cutoff, so this is the last chance to order these or put in and ask Diamond for them.
Yes, that is correct. It's the last time to put in and guarantee that you will have your order put in. So, like, on Tuesday, I could put in an order for something else. There's no guarantee that I'm going to get it, but yeah.
Now, so the best bet would be to go to your retailer either late Friday night before they close, or Saturday. Probably they would probably have this by then, right? Because it comes out sometime Fridays normally for you guys.
So we get it for about a month ahead, but it's not finalized until Friday at noon. So they can add a few things or take a few things off up until noon at Friday, they being the publishers.
Yeah, so and even though some retailers probably don't want to mess with this, most, I think, don't mess with FOC because of the quick turnarounds and the fact that they're not as sophisticated as other comic shops. So you're not going to be able to get this at every one, but if you have one that will let you look at it and order from it, it's really nice and it's very convenient, and it helps you if you didn't catch it during the previews cycle, to be able to fix something, or when you find something late breaking, you can still get one in and guarantee that you're going to get one, which is really nice. So ask your retailer, see if they play along, and we'll let you peek behind the curtain, because it's really cool information.
It is, and like we've said on our podcast, and I think we've talked about a little bit on yours, any retailer who is kind of worth their salt will go through and take a good chunk of time on the FOC. I know when James and I sit down and do it, it can take up to 3 hours sometimes to do it by the time we calculate everything out, and it's because we're fielding requests from people, we're kind of looking at sales trends. It's also the opportunity, so when you get to issues 2 and 3, it's your opportunity for the publishers that utilize FOC to kind of say, okay, we brought in 20 of number 1, we sold out, we had to get more, so now we had originally put in an order to match at 20, but if we brought in another 10 and we've sold 6 of those, maybe we ought to up to 25 or 30. So it's really a retailer's best friend to kind of look at the sales trends and figure out what they're going to do.
Kyle, can you guess if the LCS close to us does it?
I'm not sure if they know how to access the FOC. We may need to see if we can help with that.
I don't think they know what an FOC is. Anyway, so thank you for that, Eric. That's cool. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking
Nothing in the back half? Nothing in the little guys?
There really wasn't a whole lot. The only 2 that I think are of any sort of note would be Breathless from Black Mask.
That's the one I was looking at.
That number 1 issue is on FOC, and then the other one is Shadow Man from Valiant.
Did you go 250 deep on that one for the black and white?
So we'll talk off air about that.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, we didn't, but we'll talk off air about it.
Interesting. Most definitely.
Okay. Now, speaking of previews, previews is going to do a little change here. We're going to, as you know, that previews comes with a Marvel insert, and lately has been coming with an Image Plus insert. That's been very nice, but Image continues to have their solicits in the book as well, the main catalog. Marvel does not. The insert is their solicitation, so they only have a single page within the catalog. Now, DC has decided they are also going to do their own insert catalog. We don't have complete details, at least I don't have complete details yet on whether that means they will go, it's a supplement with interviews and sneak peeks and things like that, and they'll still do their solicitations within the catalog, or it'll be Marvel and it'll just be their entire solicitations. So that'll be an interesting change. In conjunction with that, the folks at Diamond have elevated Boom to a premier publisher and Dynamite to a premier publisher. I think those are the only 2. So what that means is they will be in the front half of the book alphabetically now, along with Dark Horse, IDW, and Image.
Boom, and who else was it?
Dynamite.
Ah.
Have you heard anything else, any more details than that, Eric?
The only additional details that I've heard are what I posted in the Slack channel not that long ago, but it's basically from what I'm understanding, DC will be doing what Marvel does and pulling their solicits out into a standalone DC previews, and it'll be interesting to see how that works. So the whole reason that Marvel is a separate item was because through the distributor wars, each of the publishers kind of sided with a specific distributor, and DC early on went with Diamond, and because of that, they put in kind of a in perpetuity contract to get a certain amount of covers of the preview catalog. And I can't remember if Previews considers the front cover and the back cover two separate or the same, but either way, it worked out that 9/12 of the covers, I believe, was the ratio DC got. And then as other publishers joined on, they got some of the other ones. So IDW, I think, has one. I think Image has one. And Dark Horse may have a cover a year or 1/12 of the covers. So that left Marvel out because Marvel went with their own publishing and distribution channel, which then they folded and went over to Diamond. So Marvel was, unable to get a cover, and they said, well, these are our hill, our beans. We're going to create our own book then, so we can have all of our covers every month. So that's why we have a Marvel standalone piece that comes with previews, or you can buy it independently. Image Plus added it as a supplemental component to the previews catalog. What their full expressed intent was, I think, was to be able to get more information about their products out there for people. You can debate whether or not it's worked. I don't know. People seem it.
They tried to sell it
right
as a separate entity, and now it's back to being included in previews. And I don't know if that's a temporary thing or that's going to be going for the foreseeable future. I like it, but I'm all in on Image. I'm a Image super fan, so I love that stuff. It reminds me of the old Wizard magazine a little bit, so I like it a lot. But I can see where other people just think it's an ad and don't pay that much of attention to it.
Right. And I think the reason that DC is doing this is I think they want to put more content in, but I was having a discussion with a back half publisher, and to have a full page as a back half publisher, it's $3,000 per page in previews. Cool. Now, obviously, DC is not going to pay $3,000 per page when they have 60 pages. It's probably going to be maybe half that, maybe $2,000. I don't know, but that's still a lot of money, and you can put out your own previews catalog at your own page rate with all the ancillary detailed information that you want. So it does kind of make sense. And the reason that I am pretty sure, I'm leaning probably 90% positive that DC is going to be pulling their solicits out of previews and just having an insert page like Marvel is because with the Boom and Dynamite publishers moving up to premiere status, and then now also the expansion of a manga section, that really it could be done, but the manga stuff is packed in pretty tight, so I think they're going to try and expand that, make it a little bit bigger, little more information. So with all those things, previews is pretty thick as it is. So I would say DC is probably pulling out most of their content to make their own stuff, and then Diamond is filling in the rest with the manga section and promotion of these new premier publishers.
So would you think? I mean, how can Image afford to do both if Marvel and DC can't?
It's not that Marvel and DC can't. It's that they don't see the value in it. Again, if Image had pulled their solicits out and put it into their magazine, I don't know. I'll be honest. There's not a lot of people that get Image Plus for the content. They just want whatever page or 2 pages of comic are in the back, whether it was the Negan story or Witches. And I'll tell you, when they stopped offering it for free, it pretty much completely evaporated in our store. When it was free, we got one with each copy of main previews that we ordered, and they would all walk off the shelf except for maybe one. And once it became paid, we went from, I think, like 14 copies down to 2, because only 2 people were willing to pay for it. Yeah. So,
and I was one of them.
Yes, you was. And that's
sad.
Okay.
That is sad. Okay. That's good. That's good information. And I look, we look to see how that thing evolves, because it's, it's kind of like a big deal when that thing changes. So I've been clamoring for Boom to get elevated to a premier publisher. If Dark Horse is, then Boom should be, because they have just as much, if not more, quality content coming out each and every month. So I'm glad that it's been recognized, not because of my suggestion, but it's probably long overdue. And Dynamite too. They've been cranking out content for a long time. So now this new editor-in-chief at Marvel, this C.B. Cebulski guy, he's shaking some things up. I'm assuming these are his decisions, and he's yanking people off of books and moving them around. We got that announcement. Eric, you have that kind of... You want to go over that? Some of those big changes that are coming?
More standard Marvel changes.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't know. Fresh start. Brand new creative teams.
But wait, what about Legacy? Weren't we doing big numbers and no, we're starting over?
Oh, yeah. Good news about that. We're going to have a dual number going forward, which Marvel did, I believe, in the late 90s. And that's what a lot of collectors and store owners want, is if we're going to start over with a new number, maintaining that legacy number somewhere for us, so that as we're putting back issues in bins, we know which freaking order they go in. That's kind of huge. Cool. And hopefully it will also maybe assist with reading order, because you get to some of these series that start up for 5-6 issues and then die off and then go for 20 and then stop and then go for 5 and then have another 4. You don't know what order everything's supposed to be in. So having those numbers, I think, will be great. But the new creative teams behind the same products are going to be Captain America will be Ta-Nehisi Coates and Lionel Yu. The Immortal Hulk is veteran writer Al Ewing and artist Joe Bennett.
Now, wait a minute. Is that going to be Totally Awesome or Banner back? Do we know?
It's a good question. I didn't read the blurb too super deep.
Yeah.
Now I want to look.
And the to follow up on the Captain America, Kyle and I both tried Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Panther a couple of times. I did it a couple of times. I think Kyle tried it as well, and it was not good. I don't think Black Panther's selling that well, even though the movie's doing $1 billion. I think that's a big surprise to me, that they're going to take Mark Waid off of Captain America and put Ta-Nehisi Coates on it, and I'm worried about that title.
You should be.
What do you think, Kyle? You think it's going to do anything?
When I saw the creative team, I was like, all right, probably not. And it's just because it hasn't been working for me, but I'm curious to see how everybody else takes it.
Yeah, so yeah. I think so Ta-Nehisi Coates, his big influences, one of them is Christopher Priest. And Christopher Priest has a certain style of writing books, and it's very similar to what Ta-Nehisi does, where it's a little bit more exposition. Some people like that, some people don't. Some people like the tempo and the pace, some don't. I think that Ta-Nehisi, although he started off writing literature, novels, things like that, I think he's made a strong transition compared to a lot of other authors who have tried to transition into comics, and that's good. I think that putting him on Captain America, or I shouldn't say putting him, it's not like they tell someone where they have to go, they offer the books to them. I think offering him the opportunity to write Captain America will present something different. We know politically where Ta-Nehisi Coates comes from, and we know the background that he's had, and being an African American, he has been subjected to struggles that most non-African Americans don't. So his voice on Black Panther was really kind of championed and heralded from the especially the African American community, but more of the general rights community, which is a great thing. It's good to have that representation in comics. Switching him off of a predominantly African American character, bringing him to Captain America, I think does afford an opportunity for some different voice to be brought into the character, and I think that will be interesting. It just depends on how the delivery is. And it's that, again, that's going to be a personal choice, not a quality choice. I don't think that Ta-Nehisi writes bad comics. I think it's just some people like them, some people don't. And that's I think it'll be interesting to see how it does.
Do you know the subs that you have for Black Panther off the top of your head?
How many subs do we have for Black Panther? I think we have it's under 10, that's for sure. But Black Panther,
it's a hard sell anyway.
Yeah, it's never been a super high sub book. It's been a book that has been collected editions have always done well. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing about it. Now, let's compare it on the other side. So we know that Ta-Nehisi Coates, one of his big, the folks that he really looked up to was Christopher Priest. Christopher Priest is writing Deathstroke. We have 2 Deathstroke subscribers. And so I guess if you're modeling yourself after someone else, Padawan's doing better than the teacher at this point. I don't know. It could be. It's more character, I think, based than anything. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I wish him well. I hope it's good. I really was enjoying the Mark Waid run, though. I thought that was a real good back to basics on Captain America, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. The Immortal Hulk, to go back to that, it was, as I suspected, Bruce Banner is going to be the main character. Al Ewing was talking about they're going to bring in another new character, and then they're going to bring an Alpha Flight character into the fold as well. So that could be one where people are chasing a new character creation when that first comes out.
Wow, yeah, first appearance. You can't go wrong with that.
Right.
Now let's get to Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, so Dan Slott is, for the first time in about 400 years, not going to be writing Amazing Spider-Man. And it's going to go to Nick Spencer with Ryan Ottley doing the art. Obviously, Nick Spencer wrote half of Marvel, or at least the half that Jason Aaron didn't write of Marvel last year. So this is kind of an obvious pick. Nick has kind of shepherded along some of the bigger components of the Marvel events the last couple of go-arounds. So we'll see how this works. I think that there's a concern that there might be some apathy with Nick Spencer, just with the amount that he wrote last year, and some of what he wrote got people all ruffled up for what ended up being Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah, even like IGN's mainline comic book article the other day on March 1st, Hydra Cap's writer takes over Marvel's Amazing Spider-Man comic. So their lead in this changeover was making sure that he was designated as the guy who did Hydra Cap. So he still, to the general public, has a hump to get over because he's known still as the blaspheming guy who did the Hydra Cap storyline.
Right.
But he also did the Fix.
But only you, I, and 47 other people know that he did the Fix, Drew.
Yeah. He's great.
Completely.
His writing is great.
Has he ever finished the Fix?
No. And
No.
We'll see another issue, I believe, when we talk today.
Oh, all right. Yeah, there you
and
go.
It's super late.
Now, Ryan Ottley doing the art is going to be interesting.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
He was shackled to Invincible for all those years. I haven't seen him do much else. He did the Grizzly Bear. What was that?
Shirtless Bear Fighter?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't.
Was that it?
No, it was Grizzly Shark.
Oh, Grizzly Shark. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think he did that. But I don't know a lot of his stuff outside of Invincible, so I'm really interested to see what his interpretation of the Spider-Man and his rogues and everything. I think that's.
Did you see the cover?
Neat. I haven't. No.
Well, to the Skypes.
Yeah, I think it looks awesome. I'm a huge fan of Otley and just kind of the way he draws. I like the way he does things. I think he's got a lot of life. So looking forward to that. And you and I, we love Nick Spencer from Superior Foes back in the day, from the Fix. So like this is right up our alley.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Yeah, I don't know why it has to be why can't it be 802? I don't know why it has to be number 1, but whatever.
It's a fresh start.
It's a fresh start. You're right.
Perhaps you didn't read that this is Marvel's fresh start relaunch.
Yeah, fantastic.
So yeah, Otley has done a little bit of ASM work before. He did looks like a variant cover for the 14 series, issue number 8, and a variant for the, the 2015 Amazing Spider-Man 1.2. He did a variant cover for it. So, he's drawn Spidey twice, at least.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, back to the fun. Mighty Captain Marvel, Margaret Stoll and Carlos Pacheco. So, obviously, Pacheco's been around quite a while. This will be Margaret's, I think, second round on Captain Marvel, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I'd be surprised if you had double-digit subs on that book, that previous Captain Marvel. I mean, I think it's kind of lost relevance since DeConnick was booted from it. That was kind of the last time anybody was actually talking about it and enjoying it in great numbers. So this character is dead on arrival, I think.
I saw it as the life of Captain Marvel. So
Instead of Mighty?
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just one of the articles I saw. I wasn't sure if that meant anything or if that meant they were kind of going back to the beginnings of it or what.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Captain Marvel is... how do I want to say this? So, yeah. I'm not going to say it's dead on arrival, but it's definitely something that's already been played. So I think the chances of bringing on new people is a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but this is definitely, from what I'm looking at, of the creative team changes that we have here, this one is probably the least exciting to me personally.
Definitely, because it's really not new, and that character editorial did no favors to Captain Marvel during the Civil War II era,
right?
Making her a villain, and she's popped up in other books, and she is continuing to be lambasted for her decision during that event, and trying to defend herself on the pages, and it's not working. She is not even redeemed at this point, I think, in any of the books that I've read with her in it, and so I think they would have been better served to shelve this character for a while, but whatever.
Right. Next up, we've got Doctor Strange, and that'll be written by Mark Waid with art by Jesus Saez. And this is one you guys were a little bit bummed about. Is that true?
Yeah. Super bummed. Excuse me. I love...
He's getting all choked up about it. I'm so...
He is. Holy
so
Moses.
sad. Donny Cates was doing a great job, and I don't understand why they gave up so fast.
I don't know if they gave up so much as they've given Donnie so much other work that something had to give. And when you're Mark Waid and you're walking around the office and you've decided already that you're stepping off of Avengers,
yeah, that's true.
Better get a landing point.
And I'm not going to lie, I'm actually kind of excited about it. I like a lot of the old original classic Stan Lee, the early Doctor Strange stuff. And Mark Waid really does do a good job of kind of playing to the origin and the strengths of a lot of characters. So I'm actually very anxious to see what he does and if it kind of takes a step back and gets more classic.
So you'd say you like Doctor Strange for his magic and things, correct?
I do.
When Doctor Strange #1, when Doctor Strange loses his connection to Earth's arcane powers, he ventures into space. That's what you want from Mark Waid? Space Doctor Strange.
Well, I mean, he has always dealt with a lot of
cosmic stuff.
Cosmic power and cosmic entities, Dormammu, all of those things. So I am actually looking quite forward to it.
Doctor Strange in space.
I'm looking more forward to it than I actually wasn't looking forward to Donny Cates writing Doctor Strange at all.
So you didn't like any of his run so far?
I haven't disliked it, but it also is definitely not my favorite.
Yeah. And do you like his work on Thanos?
I have not been able to keep up with Thanos.
Okay. Well then, there you go.
Nope. We've got one more.
Oh, yes.
And it's Donny Cates on Venom.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Venom, so I'll try it because I like Donny Cates, but I'm worried about that one too.
I read what Donny Cates wrote about how much he loves this character, so I'm excited because I think his strengths would go hand in hand with the Venom. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, this is one that I'm actually excited for Donnie to be writing, and I can't wait to read it.
Yeah. And of the article I'm reading, we've got Ta-Nehisi Coates starting Black Panther over again, right?
For the 7th time?
Yes, for the 7th time.
6th, 7th, something. I mean, because they've done all those. They're not restarts, but they've done a lot of the Black Panthers. Was it Sound and Fury? Black Panther Rise again? I mean, there was all those different 4 to 6 issue pieces that he was a part of.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we've got Avengers #1 with Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness. That should be great.
Yes. Ed McGuinness art is always a treat.
Completely agree. Love that Ed McGuinness art. Jason Aaron rebooting Thor with Mike Del Mundo. So Jason Aaron gets a 3rd straight Thor book. And Drew, talk to me about Matthew Rosenberg's take on Multiple Man.
I don't know. He's a guy that I like some of his stuff, but he's writing too much, and he's spread thin, and I don't. That's a recipe for disaster every single time. Charles Soule is one that just he's spread too thin. Jason Aaron was spread too thin. They just do that. They get these exclusive contracts, and then they just ride these ponies till they're dead.
Fresh start, Marvel. Fresh
start. And these are all #1s. And will there continue to be any legacy numbers? Do we know going forward?
Well, he was talking about the dual numbering, so I assume that's what they're going to do with everything.
I would have to assume that they're going to slowly start to phase them out once they hit their big milestone numbers.
Because if Doctor Strange is getting a #1, it's still got 10 issues before it gets to 400, and is man, it's a monthly. I think. I don't think it's every other week, is it?
It's a monthly. Some they're going to probably jump ship on before others. Honestly, with Marvel, we just kind of find out as everybody else does. We just hold on.
Yeah. But they're
#1.
They're #1. So there you go. Kind of.
Sort of.
Yeah. I guess not in units. DC's been taking the units lead, so
I would say they're one of the big two.
Yes, they're definitely one of the big two.
I think that's a safe one to say.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. Any other news before we go to sneak peek that cover it?
All right. If that's all, guys, let's head on over to previewsworld.com like we talked about before. New releases. Let's scroll down. We'll find out what's coming out March 7th, 2018. Almost said 17. And Drew, Eric, let's start where we always love to start. Let's start in Dark Horse.
How did Incognito Negro Renaissance sell for you guys?
1 sub, 1 issue, 1 sold.
Batting 1,000 then.
Yeah. Nobody came in asking for it, but the one who did ask for it bought it.
There you go.
It's fantastic.
Anything else in our hardcore, hard-hitting Dark Horse?
No.
Actually, the Rasputin Voice of Dragon, we have had a couple of people throw that on their pull list, even though it's only a 5-issue series. But this is part of that Mignola verse, and people seem to dig his stuff. So,
yeah.
Can't beat it. All right, guys, let's head on down and see what we have in DC.
I love what DC has done with these cover Bs, independently orderable. They're head and shoulders the best cover publisher out there, right? I mean, I know Marvel does some great variants and stuff, but to be able to just pick up these off the shelf, the quality on a lot of these titles they're fantastic. Am I alone on that?
I agree with you 100%. But I'm also a big DC fanboy.
Yeah, there you go. So anything interesting happening in Batman that we need to worry about blowing up? Looks like a Poison Ivy story continues, so No.
Yeah, we're not necessarily spotlighting on the relationship between Catwoman and Batman in this one, so those are the ones that tend to be a little more heat on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Catwoman's still going to be a part of the issue, but certainly not part of the... doesn't seem to be outwardly part of the wedding component. I would say that the next thing worth looking at is Batman White Knight 6, and that is because every issue of Batman White Knight has sold out and gone back to another print.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish I would have done both A and B covers on this. It's really been great. Fantastic.
It has. Mm-hmm.
Did you guys end up reading I think it was issue 4. Did you notice the panel where Harley was naked and they covered her up with the word balloon?
I sure did.
Yeah, because he had shared that unedited on his Twitter.
Right.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Can DC do that? No, they can't. They covered it up.
Turns out they choose not to.
Probably a safer bet.
Yeah. Of course, get a little bit of risque in there. You get some people talking about it. Book sells out even more. Spikes in price.
Yeah. I have been trying so hard to enjoy this Snagglepuss thing by the guy that did Flintstones. It is so hard to enjoy this. It's just really, really not catching fire with me yet. 2 issues in.
I never in my life thought I would ever see Jai Lee draw Betty and Veronica. But on your B cover of Harley and Ivy meet Betty and Veronica, you see just that. And it's pretty awesome.
Now you got your standard Harley Quinn show cover. This one features the Penguin.
Have you had any drop off since the switch to Thierry?
We have not. The people that read Harley Quinn continue to read Harley Quinn. The people that get the show covers continue to get the show covers.
Hey, we've got a not too bad Yasmin Putri cover B on Nightwing. Hey, not too bad.
No. Kyle, I had to talk Kyle off the ledge of the last order that we submitted. He had dropped Nightwing. And I was like, "What are you doing?" He's been dying since we started doing this back in 2012. He has bought every Nightwing available
since New 52 cover A,
and he was going to drop it complete, and I was like, "I'm getting ready to send this in. Are you absolutely sure? Because they're changing creators here pretty soon." And I talked him off the ledge, and he's gonna stick with it. I'm gonna
push through the next creative team and hope for something. I was ready to vote with my wallet and get my picket sign out and say, "We demand more from our Nightwing."
Yeah, I did. New creative team coming.
We shall see. But thank you, DC, for trying to. I'm not gonna say try to salvage it, but try to give us something a little special.
Yeah.
Now, Superman 42 is part of the Bizarro verse. It's part 1. So this, I don't know if this is going to catch on or not. I know there's a pocket fandom for Bizarro.
And this is this the first boy Zorro, or is this an established character that's been around?
You know, that's a darn good question.
I don't know. I haven't been reading Superman all throughout his whole career, so I don't know it, but it's interesting. I wonder if that's the first appearance.
No results found on Comic Book DB.
Yeah.
And when they say the term Boy Zorro, they feel the need to tell us if it's the son of Bizarro. So I'm guessing this is the first we've ever seen it.
Could be something there.
And I wonder if it's the Bizarro from Red Hood and the Outlaws that's a little less dumb.
So that could be on your spec pick if it's a first appearance.
You still doing Young Animals, Drew?
No.
Shade the Changing Woman.
I will sample this one, but it was the only one left that I was even reading out of the imprint, and it was weird. So I want to sample this one, and then I want to make a decision.
Becky Cloonan, cover A.
Yeah, yep, she's good. Really like the Wild Storm. Now they're up to 3 covers on it, so that's kind of neat.
Jim Lee, cover C. All right. Anything else to delve any deeper into in DC today?
Nope.
Not for me.
All right. Let's head on down and see if we can dig anything out of I.
Now you got a couple of number ones here. You got Highest House number 1 and Spider King number 1.
Now on Highest House, I see
Highest
a $4.99 print on Previews World and a $3.99 if you look at the cover.
Indeed you do.
So I'm unaware if we've had a last-minute hike or somebody screwed up.
And it is a $4.99 book. At least our invoice is for $4.99. So
I just imagine Eric with like one of those Minority Report computers, and he's just grabbing all these little databases and things and checking all these prices and pulling covers up. How are you accessing all this information so quickly?
Well, I have our invoice for what we ordered and what's shipping to us on Tuesday open in Acrobat. I have the Diamond retail website open so I can search through anything that has been solicited or ever existed. I have my Facebook open, which has the Marvel and DC retailer Facebook groups, which has extra covers in it. And excuse me, and I have Comic Book DB open for doing any extra research needed.
You're a wealth of knowledge, sir.
Actually, the internet's a wealth of knowledge. I'm just
Your
it's
ability
vessel.
to access it. I'm interested in this, but at $5, that leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth.
Yes, may I direct you down to the Spider King then for $3.99. This one could I don't know if it's going to necessarily jump off, but it's kind of a Vikings versus aliens thing. So Vikings have been a fairly warm thing since I don't know if it's on what channel it's on, but the Vikings television show, I think it's History. Yeah, so ever since that came out, Viking stuff has done a little bit better, and it's kind of got a what the heck is it? Eric Powell-esque cover A by Simone d'Armini. So I don't know if this one's going to have a little bit more as far as legs go. The cover B is by Afu Chan, and I would get the cover A, but that's just me. Let's see if we've got... And we have... nobody pre-ordered it from us. So my guess is that's going to be a pretty low print run and a pretty hard-to-find book.
What about the October Faction Supernatural Dreams #1, written by Steve Niles and Damian Worm on art?
So this is a second or...
Is it? Okay, so this is an existing property.
It is, yes.
It's a cool-looking cover.
Now, the Star Wars Adventures 7 is coming out. I only say that because I'm excited about Star Wars Adventures number 8.
Yep.
Because we've got a really cool backup feature. I'm assuming the FOC has passed on 8, so there's nothing we can do to increase those sales.
Correct. The FOC passed, but that's okay. That's okay. Our pre-order numbers were much, much stronger compared to normal, so we did our part.
Yes. So when that Jawa backup feature comes out, I'm all over that.
Yes, and I'm confident it's going to be great, and it's going to be on the people that pick it up when they see it and they read it. If they love it, make sure they take it to Twitter or Instagram or whatever the kids use nowadays and make it known that you like it.
Take it to the snap face.
That thing.
All right. Anything else in IDW? Way more than we normally spotlight from them.
Are you going to get one of those books, Kyle? Did you order one of those books? You hate IDW with a passion.
Hey, I was Star Wars Adventure for the first 4. So don't
That's
start
true.
with me.
True.
All right. Anything else in IDW? All right. Let's head on down to Image.
There's the Gideon Falls Virgin cover that I missed. There it is. Man.
Drew, I'm going to direct you to Fix number 11 with a May solicit. Yeah, it's only delayed by 9 months or so.
Yeah. Do you remember what's...
there's a dog. There's a couple of cops.
There's a dog?
Either a dog's named Pretzels or somebody was eating pretzels. I can't remember.
Dog. Yeah, the dog was named Pretzels. Very good. Yeah, and somebody got shot at
Yeah.
one point. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, too much time.
After reading the solicit, I think someone named Mac is out for
Yeah,
answers.
they're not helping us out with the solicit to catch us up either, are they? Jeez.
Well, I am going to say I'm super excited for Gideon Falls #1.
Now, here's the
Definitely.
question, though. Do you really think the Virgin is going to be the best cover?
No, it's just I don't think I went all in and got all 4 covers. I don't know how many I got. Maybe just cover A because Kyle's got me brainwashed.
No, you went
but
Lemire. You're a crazy Lemire guy, and you fought me on this one.
I am. I love Lemire, and yeah. If he did a cover, I probably went with it. Royal City is fantastic, and so I'm psyched about this. I don't even care what it's about, but I'll let you guys know. It's a brand new ongoing series, and the lives of a reclusive young man obsessed with a conspiracy in the city's trash and a washed-up Catholic priest arriving in a small town full of dark secrets become intertwined around the mysterious legend of the Black Barn, an otherworldly building that is alleged to have appeared in both the city and the small town throughout history, bringing death and madness in its wake. That sounds cool.
That does sound pretty rad.
So I jumped on this one and I ordered myself the Jock cover.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Jock either. Yeah.
I just felt like the Lemire cover on this one was not up to Lemire's normal Lemire-ness.
Yes. Kyle, you want to take us through Oblivion
In a
Song?
way that's going to be different from what you saw. Oblivion Song by Robert Kirkman with art by Annalisa Leone and a Lorenzo De Felici cover. I am regretting ordering a lot of these, and I suggest nobody buy it.
Wow.
Because they are not doing
What
a
happened?
second printing, so they are going to just pump out and overprint it, so they don't have to sell out. So Diamond will have copies of this for the next 6 months to a year. Because they've specifically gone out and said, we are not doing a second printing. The last time Image said that, they just print, I can't remember what it was, but someone was talking about it, I was reading about it. They just print like 25% extra. So there's going to be a ton of these. It's going to be a huge order, but then Diamond's just going to have just an obnoxious amount left over.
Is it going to do 75,000?
Yeah, and then there'll be another 40,000 sitting in Diamond.
Okay. How many of those $200 collector's editions do you think got sold? Any at your store, Eric?
No.
But what do you think about when Diamond, or when they say, we're not doing a second print? I mean...
It's hard to take it at face value because if it sells out, they would be fools to leave money on the table. Now, that being said, this is the creator of Invincible and a small little property of Walking Dead, among other things. And
Outcast.
Right, Outcast. I mean, so we didn't go heavy on it, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
We read the previews, PDFs for it or whatever, and they sent the trade to us beforehand of the first multiple issues, and we were kind of like, eh. Now,
oh, you got the trade for the first multiple issues?
Yeah, every retailer got the first trade.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yes.
They're that far ahead?
Yeah, they were not for sale, so you could buy them on eBay for about $75. But anywho, so the I don't know, we kind of paged through it and we were just kind of like, eh. Now, could catch on like wildfire, like other things. It may not. So this one we didn't go super heavy on. It wasn't something that we were, I guess, too overjazzed about.
Kirkman came out and said, I know keeping a new series on the stands so new fans can get caught up when issue 2 comes out and beyond is extremely important to the life of a new series. That said, I want people to be able to get first printings of issue number 1 to add to their collection. So we're going to avoid selling out in the first place by printing enough to hopefully meet and exceed all indications. So they're just going to overprint the living crap out of it.
Okay. So it's issue 2 is the one we're going to have to make sure we get.
Yeah.
And, well, it's going to be a Skybound book. He's got that exclusive deal with Amazon and Skybound. This is going to get optioned for Prime. It's going to, so whatever the Outcast long-term trajectory is from a value standpoint, and so far, not much, I don't think. I'm looking at it going about that same path. That'd be my guess. So, might be a good read, and might eventually be a $20 book.
I'm just disappointed by the overprinting.
But if you've got Kirkman money, you can overprint something and shred them later if you have to. And I agree. It's gonna devalue the first print because there's going to be plenty of them out there. But I hope that's not a new practice.
But it seems like an interesting story. I haven't read it yet, but it seems pretty rad.
I just read the backup features and some of the titles where they give you 5 or 6 pages, and it was pretty good. Okay. Prism Stalker is written and drawn by Sloan Leone. Probably not how you pronounce that. Sloan, maybe. It's a $2.99 book. We like that as a launching point, and is about a character named Vep, who is a young refugee raised away from her devastated home planet as an indentured citizen in a foreign colony. She works tirelessly for her insectoid hosts, but there is no exit in sight in this vicious, dripping city nest. The eye of opportunity is closing. Her duty is to her family and her siblings, but what more can she do for them here? The answer appears faster than she is ready for. I don't know how many I have on order. Maybe 1.
Could be neat. $2.99. I like the $2.99.
Yeah. Oh yeah, great launching point. That's a pretty low barrier to entry.
Series finale on Spread 25, which I dropped off on just because it didn't come out regular. I really like it, and now that I see that it's ending, I'm going to catch up and read through the end because I enjoyed it. Even though that second arc, where they took the main character and essentially put him in a coma for the entire arc, isn't how I normally like to read my 25-issue series, but I'm interested to see how it goes.
The Walking Dead cover B, Sienkiewicz cover, his interpretation of the governor is pretty rad. I like that.
Agreed.
And this New World Order so far has been
chock full of new
amazing,
appearances.
Really well done. Chock full of new appearances. Could have some value down the road. So get this. Get 177 for sure. Keep them coming.
Anything else in Image?
Elsewhere's. Is that delayed or is that on time? Huh. Says it's just January. It seems like it's been a while though. This Elsewhere is a really good book by Jay Faerber, and this is the start of a new story arc. So I'm excited for this. It's a really good read.
All right,
That's
let's
all
see
I
what
have.
Marvel has in store for us for March.
Well, Amazing 797.
Yeah, I think that's an automatic.
I think you got to get this. We got a Green Goblin back, but we're really hoping for Red Goblin, and Red Goblin's in the solicit. So
Yeah,
this
and I
could
know we haven't gone over to the variant side of things yet, but there is an Ed McGuinness 1 in 10 Red Goblin character design cover, and those tend to do pretty good. And Ed McGuinness, he's done some good stuff.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
That is a really cool looking cover. I saw that a couple weeks ago. That people were really talking high on it.
There's an Avengers 683.
Mm-hmm.
And these Avengers seem to be spiking. They seem to be having first appearances in them. I don't know if there's anything that's going to be in 683, but 682 had a mystery variant that came out. 680 maybe or 679. I can't had that first appearance of somebody. So there's a chance there's something in this as well. You never know. Mark
Right.
Waid's pulling out the stops.
Correct.
I really like the cover A on Infinity Countdown by Adi Granov.
That is not the cover A. The cover A is the third one down on the list.
Cover. Okay, that's what I was like, wait a minute. Okay, that's the Captain Marvel.
Correct. The Adi Granov. Right. That is an incentive variant, which we... And then I think it was a percentage tier one, which we went much heavier on the Granov cover than anyone else. Or than any of the other covers, I should say. I can't say we went harder than anyone else. But yeah, that is a really rad cover that I will be putting in my really personal collection.
I don't know a lot of Granovs that come off the top of my head, but that seeing that one, very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the regular standard covers, meh.
Yep.
Man, they are doing a prelude to everything movie-wise. We've got an Ant-Man and Wasp prelude. Infinity prelude.
Is that the last issue of Hawkeye? I think so. That was a good series. I enjoyed that. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm. A fond farewell.
Yeah. I think Black Bolt's also ending, isn't it? Soon, but I don't think it's with this
not
issue.
This one. This one's still got more going.
Yep.
They take away everything I love. Spit on it.
So, hey Drew.
Yeah.
Check out the second True Believers item in the list.
Ha! Yeah, I've got some of this coming.
True Believers Venom vs. Spider-Man #1 is the $1 True Believers reprint of ASM 300.
I believe I have 5 of those coming.
We have a shipment of them coming.
As well, you should.
You bought them by the pallet of a pallet of them.
Darn close.
Yeah, I regret not getting
181.
the True Believer 181. Yeah, I wish I would have done that. Any of those keys, the Amazing Fantasy. I wish I would have got that one too.
So, I have a funny story about all that, but I'll save it.
Regular Venom, we've got a couple more before it goes away. But the conclusion to the Poison X storyline. So is this the last one with the Poison incentive covers that were so nice?
Yes, I believe that this is the last one of those, with the 1 in 25s or 1 in 50s.
Got the second issue of X-Men Red, which I really like that first issue. Of course, it's Tom Taylor, who I like a lot. So it might be I might be reading an X book, like
there
an X team book.
I did when I saw it was Tom Taylor.
Yeah, that's true. Unpredictable.
Kinds of good stuff. Anything else in Marvel? Buy Spider-Man, buy Avengers. They're the hot books. And buy yourself a $1 copy of ASM 300. All right, let's head into the back half.
Ballad of Sandman.
Yeah, that's the one I spotlighted. I really liked the solicitedness in the previews. Ed Brisson on writing. Alessandro Micheli and Shari Chankahama, I'm going with, on art and cover. Kidnapped off the streets of the Philippines as an infant and trained as a child assassin, Sang has never had a childhood. All he's ever known is killing and the kindness of his master Chen. The closest thing Sang has to a father. When Sang's enthusiasm botches a job, it brings the wrath of Don Michela down on the pair, resulting in Chen's murder. Barely escaping with his own life, or with his own line, it says, and with Minchella's severed arm in tow, Sang swears revenge while every gang in the city mobilizes to return him to Minchella, dead or alive. So that sounds pretty fun. I think it sounds like a really cool storyline, kind of almost a Damian Wayne independent version kind of thing.
The good folks at Emerald Entertainment have brought us Cable and Face Off #1. and my favorite part of the solicit is this is a new story arch with a CH at the end of it. So a story arch. I can't wait. Can't wait to get into this. Because it's all about the story with Emerald Entertainment. Boombox, which is Boom's all ages imprint, has a book called Dodge City Number 1, written by Josh Trujillo and with art by Kara McGee. And it's about competitive dodgeball. And I have enjoyed the rollerblading book, Slam, at Boom. I've enjoyed Fence, about fencing, at Boom. So I am interested in a dodgeball book.
Very cool. Eric, did my Dynamic Forces March Madness starter set come in?
It did. Well, it is
Okay.
on the
It
invoice.
said allocations may occur. I didn't know if I'd get scratched on that one.
Nope, it's showing right here.
What is that? What is
Two
that we're
random
talking about?
Dynamic Forces covers. One randomly chosen Dynamic Forces exclusive, plus one randomly chosen ultra rare limited edition.
It's all going to be Power Rangers.
And for the price I paid, I'm okay with that.
Dreamless, number 1, from Keen Spot, written by Bobby Crosby with art by Sarah Ellerton. Eleanor has a secret. When she sleeps, she doesn't dream. Instead, she sees another life through the eyes of a boy named Takashi, born on the same day as she and lives in Japan. Kind of an interesting concept. It is $4.99, so Kyle's
Me all too well,
out.
sir.
He will not try. He will not sample that, but it's kind of a cool idea.
The Return of Fighting American. I'm not familiar with that, but apparently that's a thing.
And they're relaunching Green Hornet for the 7,000th time over at Dynamite. This one's written by Amy Chu with art by German Aramuspe, who did a lot of Avatar books, if I recall.
But how many of them had a female Green Hornet?
True. Mix it up. They got the license. Better use it.
Are we to the Jays yet?
You are to the Jays whenever you want to go to the Jays.
Oh, Jazz Maynard Volume 2, Number 2.
Yeah. That was good. I appreciate you urging me to read that. That first volume was great.
It's a fun book.
I expect that thing to be optioned because it was very cinematic and it was like an action adventure heist movie. It'd be perfect for a movie series.
The crazy thing is, Volume 1 was actually, I think, taken from Volume 3 of the Jazz Maynard book series or Jazz Maynard series that was done in Europe.
Oh, yeah?
And yeah, so I was like, well, hey, I want to go back to the beginning. So I don't know what the whole plan is with it, but number 1, you got the trade?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what the paper stock is like, but the paper stock on the single issues, the covers are like triple thick. They're super heavy, and they're a matte finish as opposed to a glossy finish, which I love. And the actual interior paper is thick too. Just the whole presentation, I love it. But the content is great. Just this jazz musician, this jazz trumpeter who can play and soothe and amaze people, in the actual jazz cabaret club, yet he can just kick ass everywhere else. It's pretty cool.
And yeah, it was. You're right, because that first volume dropped you in, like they were already kind of established relationships between these characters and backstories that had happened in the past, and you're like, well, I guess I don't get to know about that. And they showed a little bit of flashback with them as children, and dealing with the drug dealer early on, and that was fun. But yeah, it did seem like, oh, there's a lot more history that these characters have together before this story even took place, and they were really fully formed characters. And it's fun. It's worth picking up, and I definitely would recommend it. You said it's a European book, right?
Yeah, it's one of those books that was done in Europe and then translated for American audience.
The writing is spot on. I didn't feel any loss in translation at all. The art style is that it does have that European style to it, but I liked it a lot. I thought it was really great art too.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it since the beginning.
We have Rick and Morty presents The Vindicators number 1. Of course, The Vindicators is the Rick and Morty universe's version of kind of like the Justice League. So we're leaning heavy into the comic book influence here. Of course, one of the heroes, his superpower, Drew, is his name is Million Ants. Can you guess what he is? He's literally a million ants. So that's what you're getting from there. So that should be a good one, and I see that one selling quite a few copies.
So this is a standalone series, but the regular one continues, right?
Yes.
It's like a spin-off?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just like the Pocket Like You Stole It.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So they have 3 of them going now. Or did that run its course?
Pocket might be done. Or if not, it's on a break. But hey, Drew, you get another Alterna Comics series starting up.
Yeah, Sonatus. And it's $1.50. Can't beat that. 3-issue miniseries. Some of these, they have to click eventually. They keep cranking them out. So this one's about where mysterious voices lure a man back to his hometown to visit an abandoned house that he used to frequent as a child. But as he journeys through his old hangout, he encounters a supernatural presence that forces him to face his past and his darkest fears. Cody Souza and Dan Shepard doing the writing, with art by Cecilio Lovalva. And I don't know if anyone's embracing the alternate comics, but I wish them well. I hope somebody does. I hope they click with someone. I continue to buy them, but they are not amazing so far.
Anything else?
I have I really enjoyed that first issue of Strangers in Paradise 25. I never read the series before, so there's 100 and some issues of this thing, but it was really accessible, and I can see the appeal of this Terry Moore book. He's good. He's gonna go someplace.
He's got a future, you think?
I think so. I think he might have a future.
I'm going to say
another
the
alternative.
12.
The 12 #1. It's a 5-issue miniseries.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Nothing from me.
All right. Do we want to look at variant prints before we go through the pick of the week?
No, we got to do it out of here.
This is the podcast where I ask for the Comics for Fun and Profit pick of the week. What's worth going into your local comic book shop specifically for this book, picking it up, and knowing that you're going to be able to make a little bit of money off that one, or it's the one to keep for later down the road. Either one of you guys want to start us off here?
I'll take Gideon Falls, and I'm going to go with the B cover. But you might want to pick up an A too, because Kyle says so.
For me, I will go with the True Believers ASM 300 reprint. With what we had, Amazing Fantasy 15 went up to $15, I think, on eBay. So 15 times your $1 investment. Amazing
Pretty
Spider-Man 1 was in $10 to $12 range. Giant Size X-Men was in the $10 to $15 range. So I'm going to go with the ASM 300 reprint.
Cannot beat that, absolutely. I'm going with Ballad of Sang #1. Of course, it is a Oni Press book, $4, and I just think it sounds like a very, very cool concept. And I want to give it a try and hope it makes something. We, of course, have already talked about making sure you're on the Spider-Man train and don't jump off yet. Keep going. The Avengers train, and, of course, look and see if we get any more secret variants on any of those kind of things. Anything else we want to spotlight?
Yep, and make sure you get that Infinity Countdown 1 Captain Marvel holds Adi Granov cover.
Absolutely. Beautiful cover. Can't beat that.
And the only reason I'm calling that one out is because since we started recording, we have received one email and one Facebook message to the shop of people already looking for that Granov cover.
Eating up already.
Very
cool.
What did you say? You said it's a 1 in 25 or 1 in 10?
Nope, the Granov was an unlocking. Once you hit a certain tier, you could order all you want.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
And we ordered all we wanted, but they're going fast.
Should have.
We'll talk off air. Do you want to talk about the variants then, or the new printings and variants? Is that what you wanted to? Do you guys want to touch on that before Kyle closes? Did I imagine that?
I'm just the hired help.
I know very little about those, so when we scamper through them, I don't know a lot. So I didn't know if there was anything to be had from them. I mean, we can talk about a couple of the printings. Let's go over to new releases under there. It'll be new printings and variants, and we'll go quickly down what's going into second and third printings, and then see if there's anything in the big Marvel tiers that needs highlighted. So, Doomsday Clock going to a third print. Of course, we talked about about that being
established.
The exact same.
Yeah, we established.
Thing.
Look at those amazings, man, from Marvel. Third printing, second printing, second printing, second printing. All the Avengers going to third and second printings.
Ice Cream Man
Crazy.
2 going to a second printing.
I believe I have that one on order.
All the Thanos is going to a third printing. Geez, 16 going to a second printing. Hey, somebody called out Bloodborne and they were right. Boom shock. Yep.
Is that the Titan book?
Also,
Stabby Bunny.
somebody called that out too. I don't know who it was. Okay.
Yeah, it was you.
All right, and here's where I get confused. Oh, man, they're featuring all the different Action 1000 covers and everything too. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm curious about your Action order. Did people cherry pick? Were there people going all in on those? What was the most popular decade? That sort of thing.
Most everyone went with cover A. We did have 2 people that went with the entire series, and then there were 1 or 2 people that cherry picked. Let's see, which was the one? I gotta go all the way back up to the top.
Sorry.
You should be. No, it was so the 60s variant I think was an all red. That one 1 or 2 people cherry picked.
70s is a Steranko. That's nice.
The 2000s one, the Bermejo one, we had someone cherry pick that one. And so yeah,
Josh Middleton, not shown.
James preferred the Dave Gibbons 50s one, and I myself preferred the Cho 40s one.
That's nice too. I like that.
And nobody went for the 30s one because everybody thought that it didn't look like the 30s.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
I mean, I get it. They went with the costume from the 30s, but with the 40s, you had kind of the war cover. With the 50s, it went into the cosmos and had the very kind of loopy, brighty colors. And 60s is, well, that's pretty much where Allred lives all the time.
How big is that book going to be?
As far as page count or as order?
Order sales.
I think it's gonna do well. I think it's gonna have some pretty good legs. We ordered, I think, 3 times the amount of what we normally get for Action Comics. We know some people who have ordered in the hundreds in other stores that normally order sub 50 for their standard order for Action. So it's definitely got some oomph behind it.
Will it be the number 1 book that month?
It would not shock me.
Yeah.
Would not shock me.
X-Men Red number 2 has a really cool Mora variant.
Good Lord. From
Sorry,
the A's to the
scrolling
X's.
down to thing. I'm only trying to look at the things that come out the 7th to just kind of see if there's anything else coming out this Wednesday. I just thought...
I hear you. If you are into... Oh, never mind. That was the wrong one.
I'm definitely into that.
Well, then you're going to want to get it when it comes out.
And not a whole lot that tickles me. I think we commented on that Infinity Countdown being the best of the week, I think.
Yeah, the other one to get is going to be the X-Men Gold 23 New Mutants variant. Those are the ones that are being sent to retailers, I believe. And every once in a while you can catch a retailer who's snoozing and doesn't realize it and puts it out for standard price.
Our LCS used to do that all the time. Our old LCS owner used to do that all the time.
But yeah, that's about all I got.
All right, a couple little things. Drew, Eric, anything else before we wrap up?
Nothing for me.
All right, I want to thank Eric for tagging along with us. We really appreciate it, and it's good to be back. Missed a week, but we're back on track, and we want to thank everybody for listening to Comics for Fun and Profit. Thank you for following Eric and Drew and myself through comics originally coming out on 3/7/2018. So, once again, for Drew, for Eric, and for myself, see ya!